Okay, so we are recording now, FYI. So we're going to put the date up here. You guys, look, it's a palindrome date.
What does that mean?
Well, same forward and backward. Tomorrow is as well. 1/22/21 will also be a palindrome. It's pretty exciting. Okay, so we're going to come up with a strategy for figuring out how to solve these mixture problems, because at first glance, obviously they're overwhelming, but as soon as you have a process, it's not so bad. There were no tears during fourth period. Nobody cried.
Are we going to school again Tuesday, Thursday next week? We should have gone Wednesday, Wednesday.
You guys will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Okay, here we go. Helpful hints, read the problem carefully. Lay out quantities in a table. We got our tables. Or draw pictures like he did when he drew like the boxes. We're going to kind of do stuff like that. Okay, so I would like for Finnegan to read example 1 for me.
Walnuts cost $7.99 per pound and raisins cost $3.99 per pound. How many pounds of each should the supermarket combine to make a 100-pound mixture of $4.99 per pound?
Perfect. Okay, so imagine they've got like a barrel of walnuts and a barrel of raisins, and they want to combine them so that it's 100 pounds and they can sell it by the pound for $4.99. Okay, so that's what they're doing here. Just based off of this and the pricing, which do you think I'm going to have more of, walnuts or raisins?
Raisins.
Raisins. Why do you say raisins? Because that's cheaper, and our new price is going to be closer to that lower price, right? So probably going to have more raisins. So one of the things to do is kind of evaluate the question and be like, okay, what should my answer sort of look like? So that way when you get your answer, you can know if you're on the right track or not. So we're going to use variables. We're not going to get fancy and use letters like part of the problem. We're just going to use X. Okay, I'm not going to use W or R, right? So we're going to say, let the amount of walnuts equal X. So the pounds of walnuts is going to be X in our table. What's our goal amount? How many pounds do we want in our new mixture? 100. So then how can I figure out how many raisins I'm going to have? 100 minus X, right? Because if my goal is 100 and walnuts is X, 100 minus the walnut amount will give me my raisin amount. Right? And we know the cost per pound because they tell us in the problem. Walnuts is $7.99. Raisins is $3.99. Our goal mixture cost is $4.99. So the total cost for walnuts is going to be $7.99x, right? I'm going to multiply the amount times the price. That's what the cost is going to be for my walnuts. The price for my raisins is going to be $3.99 times 100 minus x, because the amount of raisins is represented as 100 minus the number of walnuts. Then the cost of my mixture, remember we want it to be $4.99 per pound for 100 pounds. Okay, so now you're going to put your pencils down, look, listen, learn for a second. This is where it gets really exciting. So we filled in this table and it looks like a bunch of gibberish, right? But what we did is we created the equation. This plus this will equal that. So we take walnuts, $7.99 x, plus the raisins, $3.99 times 100 minus x, equals our new mixture. So we have everything we need now to find the value of x. And once we have x, we know how many walnuts we need. How will I know how many raisins I need?
The mixture in walnuts.
Yep, 100 minus the walnut amount. right? So I'm not going to make you guys use your calculators today. I'll just kind of walk you through some of the answers, okay? Let me find my cheat sheet here. All right, so I'm going to do 799x. I'm going to distribute, so I get 399 minus 3.99x equals 499. It's really hard to see that, isn't it? Is that better? So now I combine my x's. How many x's do I have? What's 799 minus 399? 4x plus 399 equals 499. So now I know how many pounds of walnuts I need. How many pounds of raisins do I need?
75.
See, you guys are like experts at this. 75. So I need 25 pounds of walnuts, 75 pounds of raisins.
On like a test when we have to like draw out the graph and everything.
Draw out the what?
Not the graph, the table.
I will be giving you tables to fill in.
Oh.
Yes, you will want that. But it'll be empty. You just have to use it to guide you. Right? It can get kind of confusing otherwise. All right, let's try another one. So exciting. TJ, come on, man. Is your foot bothering you? Is math bothering you? It's not a trick question. It's okay. Okay, this time we're combining tea. Hibiscus and jasmine tea. We want to know how many pounds I should mix of each to make a 16-pound canister that will cost $25 per pound of tea. It's very fancy tea. All right, so X is going to be hibiscus tea. My mixture is 16 pounds. So how am I going to find out the jasmine tea? 16 minus X. I'm going to put in the prices. Which tea am I going to have more of? Not by much, but yes, the hibiscus, right? So that's closer to 25 than 40 is. And then I'm going to have 12x, 40 times 16 minus x, 25 times 16. I really like doing this arrow with the words on it. I feel creative. All right, who's feeling super confident and can tell me what this equation is going to be to solve it? TJ.
Well, it'd be 12x plus 40 times 16 minus x equals 25 times 16.
Perfect. Yep. 12x plus 40 times 16 minus x equals 25 times 16.
Wait, is there supposed to be an X in front of the 12?
Oh, there is. Thank you. I think I said it and then just didn't write it. There we go. All right, so we have 12x plus 640 minus 40x equals 400. So this is where students start to like hesitate because when they combine the x's, they get negative 28x. But if you kind of look a little bit ahead, once I subtract 640 from 400, what kind of number am I going to have? And then a negative divided by a negative is positive, so you'll be fine. So now we have negative 28x equals negative 240. doesn't work out to be a perfect number. You get a decimal value. So we use this about. These little squiggles mean about. So it's about 8.6. So about 8.6 pounds of hibiscus How much of the jasmine tea am I going to need? 7.4. Do you guys feel a little better than after watching the videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just need a strategy, right?
Well, we learn like different strategies on how to solve these problems. Or is it like
Well, there's different types. So the next ones we're going to do are like with the chemist TJ and mixing solutions. So like that's slightly different, but there's no like super different strategy. It's just setting them up and having a way to set them up. So let's look at a chemist named TJ. There we go. Has a 25% concentrated acid solution and a 75% concentrated acid solution. How many liters of each does TJ need to make 500 liters of a 55% concentration solution?
I don't know.
TJ should just know.
What?
TJ should just know.
TJ, well, how many do you need? Come on, man.
13.
Okay, so we're going to draw pictures. I'm going to draw like little cylinders because this is how I was taught to do it. You can just put boxes if you want, like they did in the video. Okay. So we know that the first one is X liters, and it's got 25% acid concentration. We know we want our final one to be 500 liters at 55% concentration. Other barrel has 75% concentration. What expression can I use to represent that 75% concentration? 500 minus X, yep. So now we just have to take everything from this and put it into the table, right? So we're going to write these as a decimal. Oftentimes people forget to do that. That's a really important step. Then you end up with these crazy big numbers if you use whole numbers instead of the decimal value of the percent. And then the expressions that we used above each container was X, 500 minus X, and 500. So then just like with the walnuts and raisins and the teas, I'm going to work across. So I have 0.25x for my total concentration here. I have 0.75 times 500 minus x. And then I have 0.55 times 500. So then again, I take this last column here, this plus this equals that, 0.25x plus 0.75 times the quantity 500 minus x equals 0.55 times 500. So I know you guys sometimes ask, like, when will we ever use this? Well, if you're thinking you want to have a job in, like, a lab somewhere doing sciencey experiments and physics and all that kind of chemistry stuff, you definitely use this.
We also use this in chemistry.
Use it in chemistry in high school?
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. See, this isn't a total waste of your time. TJ.
Sometimes it feels that way.
The sign says if you are not struggling, then you are not learning. I'm struggling.
So you're learning.
Well, I'm not getting it either.
I think I'm doing
It'll click for you. So let's just work. Now we just have an equation to work out. This isn't the hard part, right? 0.25x plus 375 minus 0.75x equals 275. So here's where if you're going to make a mistake, if you haven't already, it's going to be here. What's 0.25 minus 0.75? Negative 0.50x. I don't know what happens when you start subtracting with decimals and it's like your brain wants to just say 0.5 or something of that, or add them and get 1, but you got to remember to subtract. So then I take away this 375 from both sides. Did you guys hear that? That was my Fitbit. Did you hear it on the video? Wasn't there a video where I did that?
I heard your ring doorbell notification.
Oh, yep.
I just heard that.
That was when I think it was the school bus went by that morning. So, but my Fitbit just like drags on the desk anyway.
Would it be 200?
What was that, chemist?
Would it be 200?
It would be 200.
So TJ does know.
I have lab.
So he's learning. All right, so what does this 200 represent?
The amount of acid solution you need, 25%.
The 25% acid solution. So how much do I need of the 75%? 300. Because when you take the 500 minus the 200, you get the 300. We only have one more example, guys. You got this. And then the assignment for tomorrow, practice 1 matches up to example 1, and practice 2 matches up to example 2.
Like the
See,
same answers? Or like
Yeah, same
different
answer.
format?
it's similar, not congruent.
We only have to draw another cylinder, right?
We're going to draw some more pictures here. This time we are trying to find out how much water we need to add to a salt solution to dilute it, right? We want it to be less salty, okay? So we're going to draw our little pictures here. One cylinder plus another cylinder equals another cylinder.
Can't they just use one of those things that does like from salt water to regular water?
A purifier?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're kind of doing. We're manually purifying.
Well, what if we just bought one of those life straw things? You can't do that.
Okay, so here we go. How much water should be added? So water is our X. The amount of salt in water is 0%. We know we have 400 milliliters of 40% solution, 40% salty. We want to bring it down to 25%. What's my expression going to be here? I'm trying to figure out how much water I need to add. So how much total liquid am I going to have for this 25%?
400 and
Yep. So I'm actually combining things to make more instead of saying my limit is 400. So it's worded just slightly differently. So let's fill in our table. percent of solution that is salt as a decimal, 0.0, 0.40, 0.25. I don't know how many milliliters of water. I know I have 400 milliliters of the salt solution. And I'm going to add those to find out my mixture. So I've got 0, because x times 0 is going to be 0. I've got 0.40 times 400. 0.25 times x plus 400. Am I the only one still doing the arrows with the word solution?
Were we supposed to?
I mean, it's kind of fun.
I didn't do it.
That's okay. So what's my equation going to be?
0 plus 0.40 times 400 equals 0.25 x times 0.25 times x plus 400.
Do we need to put a 0 in?
So the only reason I'm putting it there is so that if you guys were to look back and say, well, what did she do with this? Like you can see that this was the water mixture, this is the salt mixture, this is the new mixture.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. It's just right now a placeholder while we're learning. But on the assignment that you're going to do tomorrow for Monday, you don't have to put the 0. So I'm going to get 160 equals 100, or 0.25x plus 100. Okay, so I get x equals 240. Tell me how that relates to this situation. What does that?
240 milliliters is equal to 25%.
For the new mixture, right?
I don't know. You guys tell me. What does the x
No,
stand
the
for?
Water.
Water. 240 milliliters of water. So it says how much water is added. What is the total volume? So 240 plus the 400 I started out with.
640.
There we go. Did we all learn today?
My back hurts.
That's what you learned?
Yeah.
That's good.
Didn't need to.
Any questions before I stop the video? Any questions for the good of the group?
5 video. I'm looking 5 video.
Okay.